If you knew me before, you wouldn't even look my way. If I had the nerve to speak, you wouldn't hear what I say. Time has come and gone so fast, we're not who we used to be.
And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Chad Rupp. Dude, okay, I have to say this, right? Because, like, I geek out every time I'm around you, right? Because, like, you exude music from, like, every part of your being.
Oh,
and, like,
man.
just, like, I get geeky around musicians that have so much talent, right? And, oh, stop it. Like, stop. Like, no, I'm serious. Because, like, every time I see you live, and just how you're able to sort of like make sure everybody in the audience is a part of the concert, that's not something that's very common. Like, I really appreciate that about you as a musician.
Well, thank you. I mean, you know, in reality, I get that from watching musicians and having come up around musicians like Norman Sylvester, who goes out of his way to make his crowd, part of his show.
Yeah.
You know? And to me, that's consummate musicianship and what a blues man should do. You know?
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I don't do it because of money. I don't do it because of anything but just the joy of it, really. You know, I like to, obviously I want to get my musicians paid, and I've grown a lot in my music because of people like Timur Blakely, who is a personal hero.
Yeah.
And
mine too, actually.
You know,
yeah.
he taught me an awful lot, and he's taught me a lot about the business, and but performance has always kind of been in my blood, and that's like what I really love to do. And like, I can't think of anything that I would rather do and with my time. And
Yeah.
you know,
How did you get started in music anyway? Was it something like you just picked up always as a kid, or?
when I was a kid, it was I had I had great music teachers when I was a kid. I was never technically very sound. Like, I never learned how to read music. You know, and but I had choir, and I really enjoyed choir. And my brother was a musician, so when I was about 13 or 14 years old, he started me on. I think it was Stevie Ray Vaughan
That's awesome.
that he gave me a cassette tape, a couple of cassette tapes. I Couldn't Stand the Weather and Live Alive, and a couple of those albums, and I just wore that stuff out. I could never play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but that was inspiring to me. And then he gave me Muddy Waters and some different musicians like that that I, at the age of 14, I was just I was shell shocked. And about the time I got to be 17, 18, they had the first blues festival down down at the waterfront, and the Rose City Blues Festival. And
such a phenomenal event.
I was blown away, man. And like, after that, it just blues kind of became my thing after that.
Do you remember the first guitar you picked up?
It's my brother's. Oh no, it would have been one of my dad's. My dad had an acoustic guitar. My brother and my dad learned how to play guitar together, and I was too young at the time, but I actually accidentally destroyed my dad's guitar. And there was when I was pretty young, I think I was probably 4 or 5, and my mom had this gigantic container of this stuff called Bonnie Bell, which was like a highly had a lot of alcohol in it. It was for your skin. And I think I must have been trying to clean my dad's guitar with it or something like that, and I ruined it. And but they didn't hold it against me, thank goodness.
If my dad would have held a lot of things I ruined against me, it would have been.
Anyway. Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
I bring it up because it's like I think of very few boys that aren't destructive on some level.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, I think that we're all destructive regardless of sex.
Yeah.
I think we all have our
moments,
self-destruction and destruction of other people's things.
So along the way, though, so you pick up this guitar. How many years after you pick up the guitar did you realize, like, I'm actually kind of pretty good at this?
Never.
Really?
You know, it's for me, guitar is a tool of a tool of the front man. And it took me until I was in my 30s, well into my 30s, before I thought that I had any kind of real skill with it. You know, I'll still always say that there are so many other people that are, you know, better at that particular aspect of music than I am. So many of my friends in town here in Portland are just astounding high level musicians, and that's kind of a weird thing about our town, is that uh, the musicians here are outstanding. You know, Josh McCoskey's one of my favorite musicians. He's a younger guy than me. He came up in some of my jams, you know, over the last 15 years. Now he's running my the jam that I started over at the Lair in Milwaukee, which is called the 145 Blues Jam Party. And he is now the guy that is running that. And it
How
makes me feel
wild is
really,
that?
makes me feel really good that somebody who, you know, who really gets it is there, and you know, purveying as a service to people, you know. Like it those jam sessions are important.
Huge. And I actually almost prefer to go to some of the jam sessions than some of the concerts sometimes, just because, like, I love, like, the experimentation on stage,
Sure.
just the camaraderie and, like, all of that stuff too. It's so exciting.
Yeah, to me too. You know, even after years and years of being a purveyor, you know, it's still fun.
Get that a little closer to your mic.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
Ha. And you know, like you meet people in the community that are striving to be musicians like how you are, you know. And I think that that's important for everybody, you know. Like, musicians don't have an outlet very often, and sometimes they're just be sitting around their house, you know, plinking away. You never really get to learn very much about performance if you don't get out and actually do it. So I'm really glad that we have the ability to do that here, and I'm honored that I was able to be one of the people that does that.
And it's one of those things that just the experience that you need to be show ready is not something you can duplicate unless you're on stage.
For real.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, we always, I work with Timmer almost all the time. And one of the great things about working in that environment with the same musicians is that we can get our show ready. You know, like one thing that I'm missing from my regular Thursday jam, which is now Josh McCoskey's, is the paid rehearsal of it.
Yeah.
And we get an hour set, and so we can practice a festival set, and you know, and do that once a week. And you know, like, I don't have to pay out of my pocket for it, which is nice. Now I got to pay for rehearsals out of my pocket, and I'll still gladly do that because I want to keep my machine greasy.
Yeah.
And you know, like, be able to share new ideas with the musicians in my band. And that's part of the thing, man.
Is that something that sort of changed over time? Like being able to find rehearsal space without having to pay for it versus now? Or is it just,
I never had rehearsal space. I never had any of that. So you know, in the production of the last 3 albums that I did, my latest albums, it's been, you know, like, we did that stuff and learned it by working it on stage. A lot of that stuff I wrote in the studio, which is, if you're a musician, don't write your album in the studio.
why is that?
The reason why is because if you do that, then you don't have an opportunity to rehearse it and use it on a stage soon.
Yeah.
So when I go to record the next album, I will be, my band will be on top of it. Everything that we go in to record before we go in to record it.
Yeah.
And I just happen to have a gift for being able to write songs on the spot. I'm fortunate that way. I'm really fortunate, and I I I feel like there's just a connectivity that I have there when I just come up with a riff and words come out of me, and it's easy for me to write that stuff down, and in no time something comes together. So but usually it's when I go to write an album, it's like the real bread and butter of it comes down to about the last month before I go into a studio, and what's going on in my life at that
Yeah.
point in time. Everything that I write is really um, uh, autobiographical.
I could see that. I could see
So
that. And a couple of my favorite songs on your album, on a couple of your albums, like the one with you and Johnny, is hilarious. I love that. And the ending is just perfect.
yeah, Johnny's a miraculous human being.
Yes, he is.
He really is, and he is definitely an alien from another planet. And whatever weed he is smoking, don't try a hit of that stuff, because you're gonna be
Gone.
that's an alien strain that you don't want to be introduced to. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're an alien as well. But,
Right.
but no, Johnny is that's another great thing about our musicians. We all take care of each other here, and it's not something that nobody is holding, and nobody's a gatekeeper really anymore.
Yeah. And it's like, for example, with this podcast, right? Like when I was first starting this podcast, there was a few times where people were curious as to why I would have a different genre of music as being interviewed. And I'm like, that's the whole point. Like, music is music. It shouldn't matter what genre you're doing. If you're putting out something and people are like, hooray, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we get to have that experience, when we do things together, we do things best. And Johnny is most definitely one of those super heroic individuals. Who else? What other quadriplegic blues man do you know? That knocks it out of the park like him. And but I could say that about a lot of our musician friends. And
100%.
We have so many people in this town that are just, my buddy Kivit Bednar, he builds my amps for me.
What?
And every once in a while I'll build a guitar for him, so I have, I have 3 amplifiers that I've had that he built for me, on top of being, he's an Einstein.
Yeah.
He's Portland, Oregon's Dumble. But on top of that, he is a monster musician, has got great chops and a wonderful voice. And, it's just, we're so lucky to have these kinds of people around us, man.
Is it because of the sound that comes out of his amps that is different and unique? Or?
Oh, well, he definitely understands tone better than 99.9% of the people that are dealing with guitars and amplifiers. And it's different people have different gifts, and he has got a gift for that really can't be touched, if you ask me.
But what about you, though, right? Because like you just said, you build guitars.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years now. Kenny Blu-ray is my guitar mentor, and kind of my blues father at the moment right now. He's somebody who's means a lot to me musically, and has shown me an awful lot about what good tone is. He is the king of tone, and he showed me. It started off. I was down at Capish Luz, which was at the time down in the Northwest Industrial area of Portland, and I went down to see him and Peter Damon and Michael Osborne. They were doing the Three Kings gig, and I saw a guitar that he had, and I was like, "That's a cool guitar." He's first when I went up after they had been playing. I said, "Hey, what is that thing? And where do I get one of those?" And he says, "Oh, well, I built it, and I like them really lightweight. That's his big thing. He likes lightweight guitars." And like years later, actually, a couple years after that, he was coming over to my house. He comes over to my house once a week, and he gives me a guitar lesson, and I fix his guitars, and
I love that.
and just have my good friend Kenny Blu-ray around, who is completely knowledgeable. Has got some of the best stories on the planet, and has introduced me to lightweight, high quality tone, and that's what he digs. And that's where I learned how to build guitars. I learned from Kenny Blu-ray.
And when did you transition to like a plugged in guitar to the wireless piece? Because one of the things I love about you on stage is that you have that wireless connection. And when you leave the stage and go into the crowd, that's so freaking awesome.
I started doing that at probably a couple years into the Layer Jam, and the reason why I did it, there's two people that are Portland area people that kind of got me into the wireless thing. Back in the mid '90s, when I was working at the Candlelight Room, Jaybird Coder was working with my piano mentor, my friend DK Stewart, and down at the Candlelight Room, they had a long bar, and he had a wireless rig, and he would get up on the bar and walk the bar with it. I thought that was the coolest shit that I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, someday, like if I ever have the ability to do that. And I used to question him about what it was that he was doing there, and what everything was so expensive. Like I couldn't afford a wireless rig at the time back in the mid '90s. And but when they became readily available, 2005, 2010,
Yeah.
right in there, pardon me, like I tried it out, and I really liked it, and they've just gotten better over time, so it makes it easy for us to actually get out into the audience. And do you like what Norman does? I love what Norman does.
Oh, he's so
Like,
fun to
he'll
watch.
go out and he'll acapello it, and go and sing right to somebody's face. And to me, that is key as a blues musician and as a front man, to get it across, is to bring it right out to them, to sing right to their faces. In a small crowd, it's easy to do that. In a big crowd, not so easy. But
Yeah.
like I've seen him do it in crowds that probably have 100 people, and he will just get out there and he'll sing without a microphone. Everybody hears him clearly. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's he's an inspirer to me about that. But Duffy Bishop also would come out of the crowd with a microphone and go on stage. And to me, that was so much fire. And she's still amazing. And they're all amazing. All of my heroes are still performing for the most part. And some of them have passed away, Jim Meesey and Paul DeLay, and, heroes of the past, Linda Hornbuckle, yeah,
Oh, wow, yeah.
these people are the people that were my foundation.
And one of the things that I love in particular about blues in general is just how supportive everybody along the way is.
It's not like that everywhere.
Yeah.
It's we're special here, man. And it's and that kind of way is spreading, and I see it a lot in Seattle now, in the Washington area. And like I was talking about gatekeepers, like a lot of that stuff is starting to disappear. There's access for musicians to resources that they and performances that they wouldn't normally have had, like say 20 years ago. You wouldn't, like I've gotten to perform at the Waterfront Blues Festival 3 times
That's
in the
awesome.
last 3 years. I would have never ever thought that I was ever going to, like I watched a lot of my friends go and do it. And, like I'm sitting there just being jealous as jealous can be. Well, not jealous, but envious,
Yeah.
envious of my friends.
Envious yet supportive.
Yeah, you gotta be that way. I mean, like to say that I'm better than somebody else is, that doesn't apply because we're all different and we all have our own, stamp that we put on things.
100%. And one of the things I say ad nauseum on this podcast and everywhere I go is not even identical twins have the same life story.
There it is.
So it's just like come with curiosity and just see if you like it or not. And music is like, if you like it, awesome. If you don't, awesome. It doesn't matter. Whatever floats your boat, that should be the music for you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like all music. It's blues just took root for me and was, I really don't think that my guitar playing or my harp playing is my thing. I think that just the package of being a front man and probably my vocals are probably what I feel like are my most golden. That's probably my most golden skill is to be able to vocalize. And
You say that, yet I've seen otherwise.
well, thanks.
And like I've even seen you get up on the keys on stage and do an amazing show. So
Thanks,
it's like,
man.
I just want to make sure you realize how musically talented you are.
I mean, like I said, there's just, there's just so much talent in this town.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that anyone would think that I'm, that I'm worthy.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's just a huge honor in the first place to be able to be on a stage in Portland, Oregon, and stand in the shoes of my forebears.
Yeah, because like one of the things that I really believe is that when you have a venue, that venue has a memory of all of the musicians that have come before you.
Oh, for sure.
And you're tapping into this energy from the people from before, and you're
totally
just
agree.
adding to it in the future.
Yeah.
Like, how do you like? So, like, when you get to a venue, right? Like, what are some of the things you're looking for as a musician and a front man that would say, like, okay, this works for me or this helps me out?
It all helps me out, like it's, I have to formulate my own, like when I come into a new venue, I just have to recognize that that is my venue at that time,
Yeah.
and make adjustments, however, whatever would best suit the audience. So, because for me, that's what it's really about. It's not about me, like, I'll get on stage, I'll wear a suit, dress nice because that's what I've learned to do. And, and to be to be the best entertainer I can is just to, pay attention to what the crowd's doing and just, I don't know how else to put it. There's a lot of stuff that helps me in those environments, but mostly, I really love it when there's people that are there that are appreciating live music and are clapping and enjoying themselves and dancing. Those are the kinds of spaces that are the most fun for me to work. And, bigger venues, like I went down to Sunbanks just recently, and I wasn't expecting to perform at all. I was just, I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm taking a break from a bunch of stuff, and there I was. We showed up just in time for Johnny Wheels's performance, and we got down there, and Johnny saw me, out in the crowd. He looks at me. He says, "I'm like, I'm not here. Yeah, I'm not here to perform." And he's like, "Come on," and so I sprinted up to my rig and left dust behind me as I was hauling ass, and went and I got my stuff, and there I was in front of, like 1,000 people maybe.
Yeah.
Johnny had a great crowd that night, and I got to be on stage and blow harmonica with my friend.
That's so awesome. Yeah, and one of the things I do want to talk about though is the importance of supporting local music. Because like
Yeah.
so many people like are inclined to spend $150, $200 to get these national shows
Yeah.
when you could just go down the street and pay $10 and see some amazing talent you may have never seen before.
Well, I have to agree that that there are people that will go and spend the big money to go see a good show. Now, look, if that's your favorite, if that's your favorite performer and that's what you want to see, great. But like, I really feel like local music is rivals a lot of those big shows. At least here in Portland, we've got a lot of musicians here that are world class musicians, and I really feel like those people have as much to offer as any national act. I mean, you put on a big show, that's great. Like you get a lot of people together, and these people travel across the country to put on these big shows. But here, it's a down home version of live music is where it's at. And we have such a wonderful scene here. You can get any kind of music that you want, from country to hip hop to jazz to blues, rock and roll, whatever you want, you can get it here. And just like you said, I mean, a lot of times it doesn't even cost you $10 to go
Yeah.
to a show.
Yeah.
Like,
Sometimes just even free.
I
Yeah.
mean, the main thing that I see a lot still is that we're making the same money that we were making, 50 years ago, and it's tough for musicians to consider themselves pro musicians or to make a living off of it when people aren't willing to pay the $10 and buy the CD, spend the $5 in the tip jar, and really make it something. And it's tough though because there's a lot of musicians here, so like especially in the blues scene, people have their favorites and they'll go see those favorite people all the time,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is. And I don't blame anybody for that. Like if I could go see Lloyd Jones on a Monday night, I'd go see Lloyd Jones on a Monday night.
Yeah. 100%.
But I'm doing my thing on a Monday night, so like, like it's not really competition at all either. It's just people. There are enough people to go to these venues and enough people that are fans that we can make a little bit of money. And it's really, for me, it's more about getting the band paid than anything else, and putting on a good show. And I don't make very much money at all really doing any of it. Um, and I'm just fortunate that I'm an honored host.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
And putting music together on a weekly basis is a public service to me. That's what I really feel about it. To make people feel good once a week.
And I would argue that musicians that have that mentality put out better music.
Well,
I do believe
yeah.
that.
You got to have humility in your way.
And one of the things I love to talk to musicians about too is just how important the crowd is. So like when you're up on stage and you're vibing with the crowd and you're sort of getting the feel, do you ever like have to change your set list based on what the crowd is doing, or do you just kind of?
Well, there is adjustments that can be made, depending on what it is that you're, like where you're at in your set. I have a pretty straight set list that I usually stick to. Uh, you know, I do a tune at the end of my set that basically highlights the musicians that are playing with me. So like everybody gets a nice long solo, and you get to know who they are and what they sound like. Um, but really, I think that people just want to, that if you played 3 songs in a row and they're slow, well, don't play another slow song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you want to keep people moving and keep them interested. And so for me, what I try to do is a vary groove and vary the time of music, and that's how I how I go about it.
And I love also live performances because, like, especially blues in particular, what because I only discovered blues a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not new. Like, blues was never in my dad's music repertoire. It was never really in my, like, I had no idea. But then when I first saw my first blues concert and just saw like the solos and like the amount of talent and like every show you see that's a blues show is slightly different, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
me too.
Yeah.
You know, like I've picked up on so many different aspects of performance just from watching blues musicians, and it's my favorite genre, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where I come from. But I mean, when I was a kid, you know, it was you know, like in my teens, originally, you know, I was more along the lines of I wanted to be like a rocker. I wanted to be a metalhead, you know, like I wanted to play guitar like Yngwie Malmsteen,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or Steve Vai or Eddie Van Halen. You know, those were the cats that I was looking at and thinking that that was the good stuff. But you know, like when it really came down to it, you know, like once I had any kind of maturity in what I was selecting in my music, blues just spoke to me immediately because you know, like there's just so much soul to it. And you know, and like when you hear Muddy Waters do I'm a Man or you know, Hoochie Coochie Man or any of that kind of stuff, that immediately when you're a teenage kid, you're like, yeah, yeah, chicks love me. Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm like that. Yeah. But you know, that's you know, I appreciate all different variances of music and but blues really struck me.
And then one of the things I also love to talk to musicians about in particular is the muse, because I really do believe that the muse is like a living thing and you never know when it's going to strike you. So what do you do to capture that when the muse visits you?
It's I sit down and I write it. But you know, for me, 99.9% of my blues comes from relationships and working it out um, with whoever my female is at that point in time.
That's fair.
And sometimes, you know, well, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of it. And you know, what it feels like to me to go through certain things with my partner, whoever that is. And I've had lots of different experiences. I'm at a spot in my life where I'm like, I don't need any of the you know, of that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, I appreciate beautiful women and but here I am at the tender age of 55 and you know, I've got a 30-year-old daughter and so I procreated and to be honest, every single time that I've gotten involved in romance, of course, it eventually turns to shit. And that's just kind of part of it. You know, it's not that it's turns to shit. It's just that everybody changes and you know, I'm changing along the way and I have to remind myself that there's a beginning, a middle, and an ending to all things.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's a universal law, you know. So when I go into a relationship with somebody now, I recognize that it's beautiful to start off with, and like lots of stuff is going. Then you have that middle part, you know, where things seem to be going good, and you know, eventually maybe that conversation comes to an end with that person, and there's nothing wrong with being by yourself. And being by yourself, actually, being by myself, um, has actually given me a you know a lot of mental and emotional bandwidth that has opened up, and that's a big deal for me when I'm dealing with my own bullshit in my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Like, cause like, uh, I just went through a divorce and I've lived on my own for the first time in my entire life, right?
Yeah.
Like I always lived with somebody else
Yeah.
up until this last year.
Yeah.
And so for 2.5 years now, I've been living on my own, and it has opened up so many times for like self-reflection,
Oh,
for
yeah.
like the ability to like think about yourself, to improve yourself, like all of this stuff that I never even thought about. because I was so involved in like the partnership of things. I never really took time for myself.
Yeah. You know,
And
like,
so now that I've taken time for myself, it's like now I can get back out there because I finally know what I want.
yeah, you know, like, and you don't have to worry about what time you come home, and you don't have to worry about, you know, what you're, you know, like I always say to my friends who are in crazy relationships, you know, I'll take filet mignon for one. I got the money for that. Two, not so much.
I get that 100%,
You know?
especially today.
Yeah.
Woof.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it also allows you that time for self-reflection and to really have a quiet space for yourself, where you're not having to worry about what somebody else thinks, what, you know, whether or not you've left your underwear sitting in a corner that somebody's gonna be mad, or if there's a pizza box sitting out that, you know, like my house is a, you know, I live like a savage mostly, you know, I really do. I mean, like, I have brand new, like, stuff to work in my kitchen with, but, I still cook on, George Foreman, which I've done for the last 20 years, and I haven't even plugged in my oven or my range, you know? It's there, it's beautiful, it's brand new, but I don't use it, you know?
I chuckle because like I have not used my oven the entire time I've lived in that apartment.
Yeah, right?
I just use my air fryer for
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I've got an Instapot too that I,
Yeah.
you know, occasionally pull out, you know? But really it's microwave and, you know, like, my refrigerator is right now chicken and salad stuff, you know? Like, I'm always trying to kinda watch what I'm eating, because as I've gotten older, it's really easy for me to overdo, and, you know, I kind of fluctuate, in weight, and, I'd like to stay at the good spot
Yeah.
of like 175, 180 pounds would be great for me. But, you
I
know,
just want to be,
it's always a battle.
I just want to be 200. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it,
It's,
you know?
it's a long slog, but anyway.
Yeah, you know,
Mhm.
it's tough to put some stuff down, but just like everything else, man, once you learn how to put things down that are hurting you, then everything starts to, you know, like, clarity comes through in all things.
And I appreciate that. And then one of the things we sort of started to talk about before the podcast was that transition into sobriety.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to get into details, but after events this weekend, I'm like leaning that way, just
Yeah.
totally outside of my own experience. But it's like, man,
Bro, it'll, you know, like,
oh,
for me, so I quit drinking about 17 years ago, and, it was also out of a relationship. Like, when I started drinking, I started drinking mostly because I'd gotten divorced, and that was my outlet. And, you know, my divorce was ugly, and I just didn't wanna feel it. But what I didn't recognize in the 10 years that I was really, really drunk, was that I wasn't growing mentally or, you know, spiritually at all. And once I got there, I was like, when I quit drinking, I was 38 years old. But when I started, I was 28. So, like, for 10 years, I didn't grow as a human being, you know?
interesting.
So, like, I didn't, you know, when I quit drinking, I was still had the mind of a 28-year-old man in a 38-year-old man's body. And so, you know, it was like relearning. And I think that probably is one of the biggest reasons why I kind of have a young spirit, is because for that period of time I was in, you know, I was static, you know, and so, I you know, I probably still think like I'm a 45-year-old man, even though I'm a 55-year-old man, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can ever really catch up once you've kind of put yourself in a retarded state. And, you know, that state, burned my health down. It made me heavy. Uh, it made me I had bad choices in all different ways. There was never a time while I was drinking where I made a solid, good choice, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
Um, uh, but, uh, uh, but I can tell you as soon as I quit, the day that I quit, was March 5th, um, uh, uh, 2008. And, I quit because of an encounter that I'd had with a woman, and I was completely sad, and I finally just came and I quit in a way that most people, like a lot of the people that are in the rooms, and I say, Alcoholics Anonymous rooms, AA rooms, a lot of those people, I wish that they could quit the way that I did. I I I was able through faith to take a knee, and I wasn't, super spiritual.
Yeah.
I took a knee and I asked for God to take it off of me, and like that, it was gone. The thirst for that was gone, and and I can't think of any other way to attribute it but to faith that, that there is a higher power that is there that, when we want to tap into that higher power that we're able to. And and it's really hard for a lot of people to find, number one, to accept a higher power, which I think is the hardest thing for so many people to reach. I don't know why I was so lucky that, so blessed as it were, that I could have that connection with my higher power that was enough for me to know that that shit was going to be erased from my life. Um, but like, and when I'm in a meeting with friends and people who are under those circumstances, a lot of them really suffer from the fact that they can't connect with their higher power, that they don't have an idea of what their higher power is. And I, like when I asked for things in Jesus' name. But that's just how I've learned in my life to ask for things of my higher power. So like, I don't think that we have the ability to understand the mystery of what our higher power is, but like, I name it Jesus, somebody else might name it Buddha, somebody else might name it something else entirely, but for me, I think that higher power is universal as far as what you might call it. It's all the same thing,
Yeah.
right? And if you can receive, if you can ask, listen, and receive, then all things are possible. All things. And so when I quit drinking, um, immediately great things started happening for me. I instead of being broke, like I had some money in my pocket. I wasn't spending, a huge amount of money weekly to go out every night of the week and knock myself out. Um, I lost a bunch of weight. I started being able to have relationships that were not based on alcohol, you know?
And that's so huge. Like just having a relationship that's based on alcohol, it's never going to end well.
No.
It's never going to end
And
well.
but that's the thing that we always get involved with is as alcoholics. Like everything is about, are we going to go out with drinking with our people tonight, And really all those people are just suffering. I was a bartender for many, many years. I bartended for 7 years while I was sober. And uh about that time my friend Doug Rowell came to me, and he says, "You've never been to a meeting, like." And when I went to a meeting for the first time, I recognized that even though I had been sober for 7 years, I still had a lot of alcoholic tendencies that kept on rearing their ugly head, making excuses, the resentment that we have, that we carry around every day, that we don't have to carry around. We don't have to have it. And uh, you know, going to a few meetings, really started to get me to recognize where my alcoholism really was, and that I still, that I have to accept that I'm always going to be an alcoholic. I
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
I'm easily addicted to things, and this is why I've never tried so many of the other stuff that's out there in the world. Like I've never done cocaine or, that to me is like, I knew that I would be trapped. And, those are the reasons why to quit drinking way outnumber the reasons to keep drinking.
And I think there's also a huge discrepancy in what the drinking culture is actually like and what the drinking culture on TV is like. Because,
Yeah.
if you were to look at TV, they portray like this is the only way to have a good time. This is like this, like that. But then in reality, it's like, whoa, your ambitions go away. Like some people get hostile, some people get this. It's like, whoa, it's totally not what you see on TV.
I think that the younger generation is, like kids that are, my daughter's age, they've figured a lot of that stuff out. Like they don't go out and go drinking all the time like we did, you know. You know, I think that everything changes generationally, and like I really hope that these kids that have watched their parents and their aunts and uncles and their grandparents, suffer. I really hope that they find, a better outlet
100%.
than alcohol. Now, it's not like that for everybody. Not everybody who drinks is an alcoholic, and like I'm an alcoholic. I have a problem. That doesn't mean you have a problem. But I know that I have a problem. And there are a lot of people that don't know they have a problem, but they just have a problem. I don't know. Everything was better after I quit. And my life still continuously gets better because I don't include those things in my life that detract. And those addictions count for everything. Like I love video games. I love them. I'm 55 years old. I love fucking video games. Why? Why? But like they're the kind of games that you can sit down and play for 8 hours. And then there you are. 8 hours of your time is history. And that turns into days and weeks and months. And then there you are. It's just like any other addiction. So you have to learn how to curtail all addictions, all the things that you, once you get one of them, like for me, it was smoking. Once I quit smoking, I knew I could quit anything.
Oh, I know what you mean. I quit smoking in 2002. It was the hardest thing in my entire life.
Yeah, cigarettes were
oh
horrible.
My God, it was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you can quit that, if you can quit smoking cigarettes, without a doubt, there's nothing that's impossible to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can learn how to eat right. You can learn that drinking ain't for you. You can set new habits for yourself. Once you recognize that you have that strength, then you're armed to go after everything else.
Yeah.
So at least for me, that's how it worked out good for me. Like I don't think that there's anything that I couldn't quit.
Yeah.
Like I don't do things that I can't quit anymore. Like I like cigars. I might have one a day, but that doesn't mean that I have to have one every day. I occasionally smoke a little marijuana, but I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Some people, for me, I don't want to be in a daze all the way through my day. Coffee, I better have some.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? I think caffeine would probably be harder to quit than what cigarettes were. But I quit sugar. So like if you quit sugar, you're on a par.
That's my next step. Quitting sugar.
Start enjoying the savory stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get used to eating a lot of chicken.
Yeah. So can I ask you how you came up with that line? Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. Oh, where is that from? Because I love that.
That's from being in Las Vegas. They used to have a saying, or there was I think it must have been a casino that like if you won, you got chicken dinner.
I love it.
Like so. Even money is about being in a casino and trying to get your money back. And if you got your money back and you won, and you're even money, you know, and you got a chicken dinner on top of it, well, you're all right.
Yeah.
I got to eat some food and I didn't lose all my cash. So that's, you know, winner chicken dinner comes from that.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite endings to any song ever. I do. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
I'm a lot of that stuff, like I was saying, you know, it's all about, you know, my life experience when I write a tune. So
Do you remember the first venue you played at
the first venue I played at
as a professional
musician? I think it was the Medicine Hat.
Oh wow! Where is that? Was that in Portland?
That's in North Portland. I think it's gone now. But it was kind of a hokey place. Ashbolt Stewart, who's coming into town, who will be here very soon. I think he's going to be from the 15th on. He was the first cat to get me on stage playing guitar and singing. So like I was part of his band, which was Bolt Upright, and it was myself, Susie McDonald, and Ashbolt Stewart, and occasionally we'd have somebody, you know, else on guitar, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I was learning, and but he was, yeah, Ashbolt Stewart was very formative for me in learning how to be a frontman, because he would be a frontman from behind the drum kit. That's kind of how he operated. And I hope you get a chance to see him while he's in town. He's quite the character, and he was Norman Sylvester's drummer for many years as well, and he lives in Mexico now.
Nice.
And he comes up every now and then to say hello to his friends, and he's an old cat now. He's older than 75, I think. He's got to be older than 75. But man, like, talk about a lean machine. Like,
Yeah.
he still has the body he had when he was like 20 years old, you know. I wish that could be me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I saw Randy Hansen. Yeah. He's a tribute to Hendrix artist.
Oh yeah.
And dude's 72.
Yeah, you'd never know.
And he's up on stage doing things I couldn't do when I was 30. And I'm
Well,
like, how?
I'm, you know, Bobby Rush, I watched him do the splits when he was in his age.
What? That must have been epic.
With some big booty women dancing right next to him. And God bless him, man. You know, that's another cat. Like, there's some cats that you can aspire as much as you want, but you're never going to be like that, you know? And, you know, other than the fact I'm not a black man, you know, if I could do the splits at this age, I'd be cool.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But yeah, man. Yeah.
So how did you end up with the blues jam that you have? So like, was that like, how did you come up with that sort of an idea to take over and run a jam?
Well, I really got the idea from listening to stories that some of my older friends that are on the scene would tell us about trying to go and get gigs, and going to the watering hole, the local watering hole, the neighborhood watering hole, was what a lot of people used to do. They didn't have stages, you know. You'd have to clean out a corner of the watering hole, and bring your band in, plug in all your gear, and get everything going that way. And I started my first jam session. That was my jam session, was not too far away from here at a place called Hart Road. And at the time, my friend Susan Eastman used to come in, and she was seeing Greg Johnson, who was the president of the Cascade Blues Association, had been for like 20 years. She had seen me sing. Like, we had karaoke at the bar, and I did I would sing blues songs.
Yeah.
And and she was there when she says, you know, you have a great voice, and I'm gonna bring my bow out here, and you know, and he's gonna hear you. And that was when I met Greg Slim Lively Johnson, who uh, was a very good friend of mine. And sadly, when he passed away from cancer a few years ago, you know, we weren't as good of friends as we had been before. And he had left Susan and had gone with somebody else who, um, uh, to me, was not acceptable for me to be around. And I'm not gonna, you know, like, I'm not gonna rag on anybody because that person is not around here anymore. And but it's there are still people that want to be gatekeepers and power mongers among us. And you know, it's a sad thing. But Greg was there. He took pictures of me, and got me um, got me involved with the Cascade Blues Association. And uh, he got me. I got, what is it? Nominated as best new act or something like that back then. Oh, Chad Rupp and the Rupp Shakers.
Ha 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 ha.
And I had another good friend of mine, Kalen Ulig, who passed away, and Dallas Breed, and Ash Bolt was my drummer. And I got to play piano and guitar and all kinds of good stuff there. And I just fell in love with making jams happen. And at Hart Road, pizza was abound. So people would come in and have pizza and have some drinks and play some blues. And that was pretty much it. That's how I got started, is with that jam session. And I've had probably 4 or 5 jam sessions since then, and lasted usually over a couple of years. The one with the Lair was 8 years old, and when I handed it over to Josh McCoskey. Um,
And now you're at the saloon.
Now I'm at the White Eagle Saloon.
Yeah.
And I am, after 4 years of running around trying to promote myself for the albums that I put out, I've kind of taken a little lean back break for a second. And I'm going to go and travel around the country and go and find musicians who can read my charts. Um,
I'm
and
so
so I can go do a
excited.
show, let's say in New Orleans someplace, or, you know, do a show in Memphis, or San Jose, or, you know, Seattle. Any of these places, I can just like call up and say, hey, you know, I got a gig. Let's go and do this thing.
Yeah.
And have musicians show up that can do my stuff. And hopefully that'll translate into musicians that are available for other people um, here in town. You know, like a lot of the lightning in a bottle artists. You know, you might want to go out and have a whole band. You know, maybe a horn section that you might need, or whatever. And so that kind of thing is where I'm at right now. And uh,
Well, if you're ever in Tennessee and you need somebody to play a steel guitar, I've got someone for you.
great, man.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Her name is Jade Thornberry. I had her on the podcast about 6 months ago, and got a chance to listen to her play like the steel guitar, but also the mandolin and a couple other instruments.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
Yeah.
musician. And she loves bluegrass, but she also loves blues.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man. Well, I'm, you know, like, whoever I find on those journeys is, you know, someone who's gonna, you know, change my life, I'm sure.
What an amazing life experience that's going to be.
You know, I'm looking forward to it. And I never had the opportunity to go and do these kinds of things before. I find myself with the financial capability to travel and to record and to help our scenes, you know, to bolster our scene.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like that's probably the most important thing that I can do as a person and a musician in our town, is to make sure that that resources are available for musicians to grow, and for the next generation of musicians to come up without having a lot of difficulties and a lot of pitfalls in their way. Hopefully I'll find all the pitfalls and fall into them myself first. And then everybody will be okay when they, the next time they go through. But, like at 55, I don't expect myself to be, crossover and become a mega star of any variety. And, so I recognize that for me, it's probably important to take care of those that possibly could cross over and find themselves in a good spot and help our scene to grow here and elsewhere as well.
And what would you say to people that are interested in becoming more involved in music?
I mean, I guess it would depend on what they were trying to do in music. If they're trying to be performers, don't give up. If they're trying to be performers, recognize that you're not perfect but you're perfectly imperfect. Like a lot of what I picked up through mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes sounded good. And so I went, oh, that worked out. Maybe I'll put that in the next thing that I do. Also, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up every time you go on stage. There are things that you'll hear that are mistakes to you that nobody else hears, and especially people in the audience. People in the audience most of the time, no, they're not like musical experts. Nobody's sitting there judging you.
Yeah.
Like if you're not connecting with your audience, there's always a way to fix that. You can connect with your audience. If you're wanting to support the scene, go listen to music, go listen to live music, buy the CDs. If you want to, if you're a musician and you want to support local musician a lot, or local musicians, maybe learn some of those musicians' songs. I would love it if I heard somebody in this town doing a song that I wrote, I would fall out. I'd fall straight out. I'd be like, holy crap. Somebody liked my music enough that they, could use it themselves, or they felt it enough that they could use it themselves. So that applies anywhere. So like if you're out there and you dig my music, which is, by the way, streaming on all services, Chad Rupp and the Sugar Roots, or just the Sugar Roots. If you like any of that music, go ahead, hit it. I got charts for you. I'll let you, you can have my charts. You can learn my songs. I would love it if I heard you singing a tune that I wrote. I even wrote a song called You'll Be Singing My Songs. It's along those lines.
I love that.
So, yeah, man, to me, that would be the ultimate, compliment to me, is if somebody did, like steal my music, and use it, cause I don't expect myself to, like I said, I'm not going to be rich and famous from this, it's just what I do, and it's my art. And for my art to be appreciated is huge. And for me to be able to help somebody else have their art reach, that's big for me as well.
And we've been out of this for over an hour now.
How could it happen?
This happens every time.
Yeah.
So here's what I will say to people listening. If you have not seen Chad Rupp and the Sugar Roots, you need to go see this dude. Like every time I see your show, I can't help but grin, just because like you can tell the amount of work that has gone into it before you get on stage, and how much devotion you have to the audience. You are a front man, my friend.
Oh,
you are a front man.
I can't escape it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that a whole lot. And it's an honor and a privilege.
Mm-hmm. And I can't say it. I'll end the podcast the way I always end this podcast. Be kind, y'all. We live on the same planet. We share the same air. And and if we were just more kind to people, this world would be a better place.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Chad.
You bet, man.
We're good.
Right on, dude.